Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about what makes a good small business website. Whether you're launching a small business or you're thinking about redoing your website and you're not sure kind of what to include, I am going to tell you all about it, including the 7 things that you need to know about as you are building your new website and what to avoid so that you don't cost yourself customers. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. As we're talking about building a small business, we need to think about the standard who, what, why, when, where, and how. Well, the very most important thing to start with is the who, followed very closely by why you. So the who do you want your customers to be? Maybe you've been in business for a little while already and you know the customers that you want, or you know the customers that you don't want. Either way, we're going to be thinking about how do we get into the minds of the customers you do want to get their attention. Well, we talk about why you and what their pain points are. So what is their biggest headache and how can you be their solution? How can you be their Advil? So what is their biggest headache? How can you be their solution? And the formula for this is PCT. What problem do they have that you can solve? And why you? This is the C of the PCT. What's your credibility for solving it? Why should they trust you? Why should they give their money to you? Why should they give their time to you? And the T is what transformation you can give them as a result of buying your services or buying your widget, whatever it is. So PCT. And think about, if you remember old newspapers that were gigantic and there was a fold. So this is called above the fold. And newspapers would put the top headlines, the most eye-catching things above the fold to get you to buy the paper, to get you to read more. So what should you have on your website above the fold? This is your PCT. So start with that first and figure out who you want to attract, what is their problem, what is your credibility, and what transformation can you promise them. And that goes on a nice header graphic or an image of you or your team or whatnot, whatever eye-catching thing that you want to put at the top of your video, the top of your website, and overlay a statement or that PCT, really eye-catching, or if not on that picture, then right below that picture. So take a look at some of the websites of your competitors as you're going through this initial very important step. See what they're doing, see what you can emulate and what you can do better. Tip number 2, the second thing that you need to consider is simplicity. We've seen, old websites that are just jam-packed with information, and it makes it really hard for the customer to know what to do next. Is your process for working with you really obvious? Do you have a lot of white space? Is it easy to see where you want them to go? Are the call to action buttons or phrases clear? Is there a flow process that you want them to go through? If so, lay that out. Make it super, super easy so they don't have to overthink. And also, to keep it simple, have a search bar. This is really easy to include. Most websites make this really easy. WordPress, or whether you're using Weebly or Wix or Square or whatever you're using as your tool to build this website, go ahead and add a search bar. If it's harder to navigate your site, or if you have a store, whatever that is, make it easy for them to find what they're looking for and keep it simple. The third thing, now this is a really common error that I see on a lot of websites, is we don't make it really easy for the customer or the prospect to get in touch with us. This should be above the fold, below the fold, in the middle of the page, on every single page. How do you want to be contacted? What's your email? What's your phone number? Can they text you? Can they chat with you? Carrier pigeon, do you want them to fill out a contact form? Can you give them multiple ways depending on what they're comfortable with? My parents are in their 80s, now they're gonna wanna pick up the phone and call. But my daughter, who's 22, no way, she's not gonna pick up the phone and call anybody unless it's an emergency, not even me. So what can you do to make it easy for them? Give them at least one way to get in touch with you and put it above the fold. Now, a pro tip for this is to make those things hot buttons. So make them so that you can click on that where it says text us or text me, and it opens up a text on their phone. This is really easy to do. You can Google it depending on whatever platform or tool you're using. But make it a hot link so that if they click text, it opens a text. If they click call you, it opens up a calling, the call thing on their phone. Email, it opens up an email that goes to the right address. They don't have to type in anything as far as your email address, your phone number, etc. So make that really easy and make it on every single page. The fourth tip about this is now, as I study consumer behavior, I like to keep on top of what gets our prospects' attention and what builds trust. We are, as I've said before on other videos, we're in the middle of a trust crisis in our country and many, many others throughout the world, wherever you're watching this. So we need to alleviate their cynicism and their lack of trust and help them trust us. And one of the best ways that you can do that is by having pictures of real people, you, your team, the people that make things happen behind the scenes, pictures of your customers, and better yet, videos. A video greeting from the owner, a video greeting from your team, everybody waving, maybe video interviews, testimonials with people who love what you do and are really happy with you. All of these things make for an easier trust barrier to be crossed. This next one, tip number 5. Now, I talked a little bit about this with testimonials, but social proof is also really important when we're trying to build trust. Now, social proof can be anything from logos of clients that you've worked for before, if you're business to business, B2B, if you're business to consumer, then maybe it's your partners that you work with, or it's Trustpilot, which you've seen on other websites, your Better Business Bureau score. It's written testimonials, it's verbal video testimonials, anything you can do to show social proof from other organizations saying that you're great, because it can't just be you saying we're great, we're great, we're great, trust us, because we know that doesn't build trust. And this next one, tip number 6, is really interesting. I learned this from a friend of mine who is a web designer. Now, what are your buckets? These are typically, if you're a service provider, for example, what are the 3 or 4 things, or maybe it's only 1 or 2 things that you want to sell on your website? What is the relationship you want to create with your buyer? What ways do they have to invest in you or your business? How can they spend their money with you? So for me, I would have 3 buckets. I would have my speaking bucket, my coaching bucket, and the buy my books bucket, right? So I would have those 3 boxes on my homepage. And so it would make it really easy, the buyer journey, again, thinking about how to make it easy for them to do business with you and your website. So I've got the above the fold that I talked about, and then right below that, the 3 buckets, so that they can easily find if they're there to hire me for speaking, they don't care about my coaching, at least not yet, and vice versa. Or if they're just there to see what books I've written, maybe that's something that they're interested in looking into before they decide whether to hire me for coaching or speaking. I make it really easy. It's not only in the headline of the pages, but it's all in the menu bar, but it's also down below in the buckets to make it really easy. If you can find at least 1 or 2 ways to help them on their journey, make everything easier, then that is going to help your customers so much and help them easily buy from you. And the 7th tip. Now, I bet you might not know what is the 2nd most searched page on a website after the homepage. It is the About Us page. Now, this goes with the recent trust crisis that we have in our country. People don't trust businesses like they used to. So they crave knowing who are the humans, what is the mission, what do they care about? I want to know more, especially the higher ticket the item is that you're selling. If you're selling something that's 97 cents, they can get that on eBay or they can get that on Amazon. We really don't care that much. But the higher the ticket item that you're selling, especially once you get into the thousands of dollars, they want to know who's behind that and they want to see who they can trust. So the About Us page is really, really important. What you don't want is just a bunch of photos of people who are all posed the same way with the same background, boring titles, and maybe a phone number. That is very old school. It's very corporate looking, but even corporations know that they need to do a better job of humanizing the people that make the magic happen for their customers. So your About Us page, look around and see who you can find who's doing something really interesting on their About Us page. But what I recommend is pictures of your people, your team, in their natural habitat. What do they do on the weekends? Do they like skiing? Have a picture of them skiing. Do they like cats? Have a picture of them holding a cat. Do they like to drum? Do they like to cook? Show some of their personality. And then in their bio, of course, you want a little bit of credibility about why they're qualified to do their job, but you also want it to be humanizing and trust building. So what's maybe something fun that your audience might not know about that person? What's something they're proud of? In fact, for my website, if you want to go check mine out, I've got the 2 people who are on my team, and one of them is my dog. So I've got 2 people and a dog. My dog, Henry, is my director of marketing, and I have his picture and I have what he loves to do. And then the other 2 people I ask, what would you win a gold medal in if the random Olympics were held today? Parallel parking right here, right? I will tell you, I get more comments on my dog and the fun things that my staff does than I do on any accolades that I want to brag about for myself. So we may want to brag, but I will tell you, your audience doesn't care about your accolades until they start to care about you. So humanize, humanize, humanize. So if you want more tips like this for small businesses or marketing or branding, please go ahead and follow me and like this video and check out my other videos here on YouTube. And you can also drop me a note anytime in the comments if you want to connect further. Thanks.